Welcome back, Officers of the Republic. Is your Coruscant Underworld Police Chief AP Gaines here. I am joined, of course, by Darth Loquitur. But before we get started with today's video, we're going to talk about the updated 3v3 and the new GAC changes. I just wanted to bring something to your attention. I was watching Cubs fan Han's video this morning, and Heinze brought up a point that there is a member of our community, a kid who unfortunately is faced with cancer. He is Mini Snowwalker, I believe, hopefully to him and his family. I didn't butcher that username. But Heinze was asking, and his family was asking that you guys all just change, the front of your guys' name to Mini, and then whatever your name currently is. So hopefully that's not too much to ask. I know it's a couple of crystals, but hopefully you guys can get behind that. And with that being said, Darth Loquitur, welcome to the video. We're going to talk about some GAC stuff, some 3v3, and, have a good time. It's been a while. How you doing?
Good. Good. How about yourself?
I'm doing all right. I've been streaming a lot because school's finally over, and I have a perpetual sore throat, but I guess we'll survive. So the new 3v3 changes, well, they're not the 3v3 changes, they're just new GAC changes in general. Of course, we had the epic saga over on your channel where we talked about, is it going to be less teams, is it going to be more teams? They're not being clear with their language. Eventually, we figured out it's going to be more teams for most people, and they even snuck in extra ships lower than we originally thought, or at least I originally thought. Of course, obviously, AP Gaines is not that smart, and he misreads everything. So I barely snuck into the extra ship, and man, I have been benefiting every single week. My 5-star Malevolence with trash Separatists gets a hold with just one guy surviving. And not like I needed that to win, but it's always just so hilarious to see 10% of a Hyena Bomber or a Sunfac sticking on there, holding out the zone. So before we talk about 3v3, how do you feel generally about the new changes for both your bigger account and your smaller one?
I'm glad that they acknowledged the issues with the original list that would have existed on the lower GP accounts. So the fact that they fixed the lower end of the spectrum is very good. I kind of put out a proposal for my channel on what I thought it should look like, and got pretty close. So there's a few too many ranks in the middle that use 7 teams, but I was hoping that would go up a little faster. And I was kind of hoping that we would get 3 defensive and 3 offensive fleets at the top end. And I've heard some complaints that there's really not enough ships to do 6 fleets, but there is. You just can't put 4 reinforcements and everything, and you have to be clever about how you place your ships. So I thought that would have been a good change for the very tippy top of the iceberg, but we didn't get that. But overall, they did come back with a rational plan, and I think put it in place where nobody was too badly affected by it. So kudos to them. I'm glad they listened to the community, or at least figured out the oversight from the original post, and glad that happened.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a testament to their community outreach that's gone up the last year. I mean, in years or eras past, it would have been terrible, and we would have had no communication with them. But obviously the backlash for the original proposed update was crazy, and they came back and they fixed it. And even smaller things like bug fixes and, when Jolie was gone for 1 week. I mean, they announced that there was an unintended consequence of, moving stuff around. They listened to the community within the day. Within a couple of hours, actually, they made an update. They retracted. They said, "Hey, we'll bring him back. Don't worry." And then the next update at the end of the week, they brought him back. So it's good to know that they are listening to us. Most importantly, as content creators, it gives us some sort of stability that we know that crazy stuff's not going to happen, terrible changes. But even for normal players, just knowing that they care what all of you guys think is a big thing. Now, specifically 3v3, because everyone on my channel knows that I hate 3v3. Yes, it is Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Yes, it is Grand Arena. So it does have that benefit. My strategy for every 3v3 round since the beginning of the YouTube channel has been the same. Just throw Garbanzo on defense and save everything for offense, not because it's the best strategy, not because it gives me the biggest chance to win, but because I don't like 3v3 and I want to at least be able to use all the fun stuff. How has your 3v3 been going? Your thoughts, experiences, advice, anything you can give us through this troubling time?
I think 3v3 is an interesting challenge for the arenas, but it's an interesting challenge in an entire game that's based on 5-character teams. So you have to build 5-character teams for everything except Grand Arena. And that's fine. if it comes around once every 4 months. Maybe even once every 3 months would be fine. I could live with that. I don't mind breaking up the pace a little bit and doing something different. But if they're really going to do 3v3 every other Grand Arena, I'm upset. I don't like it. I'm building my new account to play 5v5, and I built the troopers, for example, and the troopers get so much worse in 3v3. They really their ability to do what they do declines. Some teams get a lot stronger in 3v3, and if you're going to be a PvP player, you almost have to focus on those early game teams instead of what you're planning to build. So, just from an account building aspect, and for the last few Grand Arena rounds, I'll admit I've been in denial. I'm just hoping that the 3v3 goes away for a while and they could bring it back in 6 months. And then every other month they're back with the 3v3. And I got to admit, it's a bit of wind out of my sails. And I go, 3v3 again. So, but I'm going to have to start making some changes, assuming that it's going to go on this way. But I wish it wouldn't. If they did it 3 times a year, once every fourth month, I'd be extremely pleased with that. I'd be happy to play the game mode, but not every other time.
Yeah, my tolerance for 3v3 was a lot higher when it was less frequent. Now that it's literally every other GAC, um, I contemplate, and I'm sure you have and other people as well, like, do you change the farming guides, especially because we don't know if it's ever going to not be this terrible way where we have to plan for 3v3? Like you said, it's the only thing in the entire game that revolves around synergies in 3v3 as opposed to Conquest, Galactic War, even doing light side, dark side battles, GAC, like everything is around 5. It's a 5v5 game mode. That's why there's 5 slots. Yes, you can undersize, but that should be at your discretion. You shouldn't be forced to utilize characters that don't work well, like you said, your imp troopers, who are one of the most fantastic, even especially early game free to play teams, at countering bigger things because they have that 5-team synergy. And we shouldn't be expected to farm up characters that are good for every single game mode, including 50% of the GACs, and then those efficient accounts be knocked down because of 3v3 just wrecks a lot of teams. It was different for me. When I did my first ever 3v3 on YouTube, I didn't have Treya. Vader was still garbage. The only shot I had at very early, very, very early game at beating a Geonosian team was Padme. If they placed it on defense, I cried, but I knew that if I could get some good courage, RNG, I could beat a team with a Padme. And then 3v3 rolls around, and I time out every single time. They can't kill me. I can't kill them. I'm disappointed. I feel like quitting YouTube. Luckily, I didn't. Well, actually, unfortunately, your guys' lives would be better if I wasn't here. Let's be honest. But it sucked, and I've never liked it. And there is the argument, and I want you to respond to this. A lot of people are going to say, well, you just aren't a good theory crafter. You just aren't this. You just aren't that. It's a unique challenge, like you mentioned. Just get good. How do you respond to that? Because I know I would respond to that by saying, I don't care. I can get good. I can still win. I just don't enjoy it.
Yeah, I've had to respond to that because I really don't have a good Galactic Legend counter on my main account for 3v3. And like I said, I've kind of been in denial about it, saying, I'm just going to counter a Galactic Legend with a Galactic Legend for now, and I'm not going to try to build separate teams for this. It'll go back to 5v5 soon. And honestly, I thought with the changes announced, I thought, oh, that's why they were doing 3v3, right? Because they needed to test out all these extra team slots and how the layout worked and everything else with extra teams in 3v3, and that all makes sense. And then they just went back to 3v3 again. So people have said, well, 3v3 has been running for a while now. Why don't you have a Galactic Legend counter for 3v3? And the answer is because I don't want to. I don't want to build my account that way. And so far, I've just said I'm going to play the best I can with what I have in 3v3, and that's that. But you can do that with your head in the sand for a couple grand arenas, and then at some point you have to say, okay, I really seriously need to do something here, because I can't get stopped in every grand arena by a Supreme Leader Kylo Ren that I can't deal with, or one of these ridiculous Rey teams that just sits there and eats up 10 of your teams and you can't do anything against it. So I may have to specifically build 1 or 2 3v3 teams just to cut through that, and I don't like that. I really don't like that. As we said, it's a 5v5 game. Everything's focused on 5v5 teams. And people say back to me, well, the characters that are good in 3v3 are also good in 5v5. Yeah, but those aren't the characters that I want to be building right now, right? Like I had a different plan.
Hmm.
So that's the thing. I mean, I agree with it. If you want to win in Grand Arena and that's really your focus and that's what you want to do with your account, then you have to adapt. And so far, I really haven't done a good job of adapting. I know a few teams that I should build. I just don't want to do it. So, so that's where I'm stuck. Do I take a 3 or 4 month detour just to balance out for 3v3, or do I stick to the plan? And at the end of those 4 months, I would have Galactic Legend Ray. So that's a bit my quandary. It's how do you respond to it? I mean, what's your line on that?
Well, the point that you made that goes biggest in line with the AP Games philosophy as a whole is sometimes I just don't want to. Whatever it may be, sometimes I just don't want to do it. This is a game. I'm trying to have fun. Which is why a lot of people are like, why didn't you get Galactic Legend this, Galactic Legend that? Not only does it not, go in line with how I planned out my roster from the start to, years down the line, I just don't care about those characters. The sequel characters mean nothing to me. I don't want to look at not GMY, but JML or SLK. Like, I just don't care. And then everyone's like, wow, you're getting the new Galactic Legend Kenobi. You're a hypocrite. I'm like, well, no, I think he's cool. It's a game. I think he's cool. And I've done everything that I want to do. And now I've progressed to the stage where I personally think that I need to get a Galactic Legend. It just so happens to be the greatest timing ever. And you guys can attribute that, obviously, to me being the CEO of Capital Games. But another point you brought up, and I just said another point you brought up and then completely brain farted. But yeah, I don't like the people who say that it's just part of the game, because it wasn't really part of the game for that long. You remember those days where like 3v3 was like, oh god, here we go. Oh, it'll be gone. And now we have to deal with it every month. And every time the 5v5 month ends, I prepare for another 5v5 month, and then I'm spammed with best 3v3 teams, and I'm like, oh god, here we go again. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
So
So I have an elegant solution for this whole thing that would be, I think, brilliant, easy to implement, and very satisfying for the players.
Before you say this, I think I have the same one, so I'll let you know if it's the same. Go for it.
You got to hold up a little sign that says what you're thinking.
Okay, I'll actually do it. Well, before you go, I'm just saying opt-in 3v3 or 5v5. That was what I was going to say. Pick which one you want to do.
Exactly.
Okay, thank you.
That's exactly it.
All the smart
matching.
people. All the smart people know, great minds think alike. Great memers think alike. You should just be able to opt in. Tell us why this is the greatest thing ever. You should just be able to opt into what you want.
That's right. There's 2 join buttons. One says join 3v3, one says join 5v5, and you click whichever one you want, and then it doesn't matter. And when people want to break from 5v5, they go into 3v3 and put big smiley faces on, and off they go.
And you're right, it wouldn't be hard to implement. I mean, I don't, but you already have to decide every single 2 weeks whether you want to opt into normal or hard mode conquest. I mean, all you do is click a button, and then you have an entirely different game mode presented in front of you. So it wouldn't be that hard. Yeah, I've mentioned this in a couple of videos. I wish they would just do it.
Oh, you've mentioned that already? Yeah, no, I didn't realize
it's not
that,
it's not been the topic. It's been like minute 7:30, and I'm just like, oh god, they should just do this. So it's nothing that a lot of people would know, because no one actually watches all of my videos to the end. But let's actually say something. You know what? They never watched. What is this? 13 minutes in. These are like twice the length of my normal videos. Darth Loquitur, I want you to say something funny, and then I want everyone in the comment section to just repeat whatever he says. Go. So, first thing that comes to your head, something funny.
Yeah, Darth Vader has a nice suit, but
Fair
I
enough.
heard it cost an arm and a leg.
Okay. I thought the suit thing was it. I'm like, oh shit, maybe he's not that funny. And then the arm and the leg thing actually got me. But I am susceptible to dad jokes. I have a theory that I have a kid somewhere that I don't know about, and that probably I didn't make. But yes, great one. Okay, so if you stayed this long, I'll see you guys in the comments. You will be getting a reply from the old AP Games, and maybe Darth Loquitur might pop in if he happens to be in the comment section. I know I'll be in his. All right, Loquitur, thank you so much for stopping by. Almost a 15-minute video. Wow, this is like an essay for an AP Games video. Like I said at the beginning of the video, if you guys want to take the time to put Mini in the front of your guys' gamer tags, I would appreciate it. I hope, or I know that him and his family and his community would appreciate it as well. As always, I love you guys. Thank you, Loquitur, for stopping by, and we'll see you guys later.